Hello, folks, it's Flying Jake. I'll tell you what, the show Cops is quite interesting. They have a lot of different things on that show. And I'm going to talk about a video that's one of my favorite videos. It's episode 14 of show 12, or season 12. Episode 14 of season 12. So show 14 is the Fort Worth, Texas police in all three segments. The last segment really gets my goat. I love the last segment, and I'll tell you why. Because these cops have to deal with a 15-year-old little brat who thought she was bound and determined and could do anything she wanted because she thought she was above the law, you know? Her name was Stephanie. Stephanie. I put this episode on my playlist if you want to go see it. The greatest police takedowns and freakouts ever. This little girl was a handful for these cops. To start off, Officer Paul Mertz and his sergeant were driving down the road, and a call comes in of a domestic dispute. Mother's having a hard time controlling her 15-year-old daughter, just got out of juvenile. So they show up and they talk to the mother, and the mother said that the girl's going to go visit grandma, but she didn't return home. She stayed out till after 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. She'd been drinking and everything, the mother thought. So somebody comes out of the house with Stephanie, and she's screaming, "No, take me back in, take me in." Officer Mertz says, "What's your name?" And she said, "I don't give an F." And then she screams really loud, "Let me go!" So he says it again, "What's your name?" She says, "I'm not telling you what my name is." So Officer Mertz and his sergeant each grab an arm, and they're leading this little brat to the car. I like Officer Mertz's response. She says, "Let me go." And he says, "Come on, we're going to let you go." They bend her over the hood, they handcuff her, and Officer Mertz says, "Well, Stephanie, you get to go back to juvenile." And Stephanie says, "I don't care." And Officer Mertz says, "I know you don't. You couldn't even make a day of your probation." So he gets her in handcuffs, and he puts her in the car and leaves the sergeant to deal with her. And he goes back and talks to the mother. And mother says she's been sniffing octane booster in the past. So while he's talking to her, Stephanie manages to get her arm loose out of the handcuffs, and her left arm, and she's trying to inch through that prisoner screen, the opening in the prisoner screen. They got where they got the sliding door that goes shut. Well, it was open. She's trying to squeeze through there to get out of the car. Officer Mertz's sergeant calls for him, "Paul!" So he goes over there. He sees a situation that is spiraling out of control. And Stephanie's just wild, screaming, "Let me go! Let me go!" And flailing around and stuff. Well, then she starts screaming for him to kill her. "Kill me! Kill me!" Well, Officer Mertz gets her out, and the sergeant gets her out, and they put her on the ground. She bites the sergeant's arm. And while they pin her down, Officer Mertz pins her head down. He had his knee on this part of her head so she couldn't, hurt them or herself, And they put the cuffs on her and leg irons, and they got her back in the car. This is the edited version because I actually interviewed Officer Mertz for an episode of a program I wanted to put on a shortwave radio station for the blind, but it didn't come out in good enough quality, but I wish I could have. But I interviewed him over the phone back in 2007 because this story actually aired in January 2000, on Saturday, January 22nd of 2000. But Officer Mertz told me, he said, "Yeah, that girl was wild." He goes, she was heavy set, she was sweating, and she gave us a run for our money. He said, on the second, pardon me, I got to go I got to turn this hamburger over, I'm defrosting. But he said, on the unedited footage, if only you could have seen that, he said, Stephanie got loose from us for a second time after we handcuffed her. She was running down the street, and we had to basically, drag her back to the car. He said that's why in that episode you see her with the leg irons. I wish I could have gotten my hands on the unedited footage. That would have been cool. I would have laughed as I listened to her run down the street in handcuffs. It would have been such a thrill. And they got her, listening to her struggle against them to get away. But, yeah, she was a handful, and she bit that cop. She should have been pepper sprayed, and that's my opinion. The little brat should have been pepper sprayed. Thank God my sister isn't here. She'd be threatening to rip my head off for my comments. I don't care. She should have been pepper sprayed. You know, I like to think that if I was that way at age 16 or 15 and I bit a cop, he would have pepper sprayed me. 15 is 3 years shy of 18. She wants to act big and bad, she should be treated big and bad. Well, they get her in the car and she's boo-hooing and bawling. I thought you loved me, Mom. I thought you loved me. Well, her mom comes over there and she starts giving her this cop-out story in an attempt to get her mom to feel sorry for her and cave in and let the cops let her go. You never loved me because I was my dad's child. That's a cop-out, and it's just a way to make the mother feel bad. Every kid who's facing some serious punishment says that. You never loved me because of this or that or whatever. It's all an attempt to get out of trouble. A futile one at that. Well, she starts, telling her mom how she promises her on the Holy Bible she's straight, and boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Well, Officer Mertz finally says, Stephanie, you need to tell your mom goodbye. We're fixing on leaving. And Stephanie says, no, it's not that easy. Officer Mertz, I love his response. He says, yeah, it is that easy. Tell her goodbye. Well, he's right. Yeah, it is that easy. It was sure easy for you to get out of juvenile detention and screw up on inhalants again, wasn't it, Stephanie? In the end, she was taken back to juvie. Ha-ha. I know somebody who was like her. This kid was belligerent. Their mother tried everything. They even locked him in a psychiatric ward for 30 days. Now, this now adult is in prison, paying the price. The bottom line is, you could be the best parent in the world and you could raise a little brat. And Stephanie was bound and determined to do what she wanted, and I figured I'd just talk about this because this is one of those episodes that really, I get an adrenaline rush from it. I do. I can only imagine myself in that position. And I know my mother, she'd say, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. And I could slap Stephanie's mother because she's in the background, Stephanie's saying all this crap, and I promise you on the Holy Bible and everything, she's saying all calm and collected. Stephanie, you need some help, Stephanie. They're going to get you some help. You need to get straight, Stephanie. My mom wouldn't have been like that. She just said, quit it. You're going, and that's final. Quit with the cop-outs. Quit with the bull crap. You're going to get straight, and you're going to learn the hard way. I'm Flying Jake. Let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Tell me what you think. I'll be back with more content.